This week on The Watchman, we are with Israel's elite volunteer counter-terrorism force, Yatar Israel, to see how they're keeping Israelis safe from terror. And right now, I feel very safe. It's The Watchman, it's Christians United for Israel, only right here on TBN. And welcome to The Watchman. What if I told you that your hard-earned taxpayer dollars were being used to pay the salaries of terrorists? That's right, your money going to support terrorists who have not only Israeli, but American blood on their hands. Well, folks, get ready to be outraged, because that is exactly what's been happening for years. The United States gives some $300 million annually to the Palestinian Authority, which then takes a chunk of that money and gives it to the families of terrorists as a sick kind of reward for murder. As you're about to see, these payments are official Palestinian law, and terrorists who have murdered American citizens have reaped the benefits. Take a look.
Did you know that hundreds of millions of your tax dollars fund the Palestinian Authority, which pays salaries to terrorists when they kill? The PA rewards lifetime payments to imprisoned terrorists and families of killed terrorists. Yes, this is actual Palestinian law, money for murder. In March of 2016, a Palestinian terrorist snuck into Israel and stabbed to death Taylor Force, a West Point graduate and a veteran of Iraq and Afghanistan who was visiting Israel as part of his MBA studies. Israeli police killed the terrorist, but the Palestinian Authority rewarded the terrorist's family with lifetime payments for what they called his heroic martyrdom for Islam. Taylor Force's parents ask why.
The news reports showed celebrating in the streets of Palestine, saying that they'd taken out a serviceman, an American, and I just totally could not understand how a people could think like that. And I still don't know. Different value systems, different approach to life. There's no sense supporting people that want to do us harm.
Senator Lindsey Graham explains the Taylor Force Act, the bill that he and Senators Dan Coats and Roy Blunt introduced to stop using our tax dollars to fund the Palestinian Authority until the PA stops funding terrorism.
I want the American people to know that this bill is not a result of animosity toward the Palestinian people. It is pushback against state-sponsored terrorism. If you're seeking a two-state solution, then one state cannot be a sponsor of terrorism.
Terrorists are not martyrs, they're murderers. Tell your elected official to stop using your tax money as blood money. End pay to slay. Visit stopmoneyformurder.org.
Folks, this is almost too much to bear. Taylor Force was a U.S. military veteran who served his country with honor, only to be senselessly and brutally murdered by a Palestinian terrorist. And now the family of that terrorist is being rewarded with lifetime payments that are coming out of your taxpayer dollars. Our team at Christians United for Israel believes this cannot stand. That's why we're urging you to visit stopmoneyformurder.org and get behind our efforts to end pay to slay once and for all. As you saw in the video, several lawmakers on Capitol Hill are getting behind this effort as well. And I truly believe that as Christians, this is a chance for us to put our faith into action. That's what we're doing here at CUFI, and why God has raised us up to become America's largest pro-Israel organization with over 3.3 million members nationwide, for such a time as this. What happened to Taylor Force and what has happened to countless Israeli men, women, and children at the hands of Palestinian terrorism is why an organization like Yatar Israel exists. Yatar is Israel's elite volunteer counterterrorism unit and a division of the Israeli police force. Now, I caught up with some of the Yatar team recently as they patrolled the old city of Jerusalem right near the Jaffa Gate, and we discussed the critical work they are doing to keep Israelis and all people safe from terror. Take a look. You know, Yatar, you guys do amazing work. Now, Jerusalem must be one of the most difficult cities in the world to police, I would think, in a sense. Tell us, first of all, what you do and how you assist the Israeli police in this tough job.
Absolutely, Eric. Well, I'd like to first start by saying that, as we all know, Jerusalem is the center of the universe. It's a place where people come from all over the world, Christians, Muslims, Jews, Buddhists, from all walks of life. And this is specifically the old city of Jerusalem is really the Holy of Holies. It's the center of the universe. So security here is a really important thing.
And so tightly packed, these small alleyways.
Very dense.
Yeah.
Now, we're specifically challenged here in Israel because of the large area that we're patrolling and the large amount of threats that are coming in on a daily basis, most of which are not advertised in order to, not scare people.
Sure.
But what we're dealing with here is a large amount of threats and not enough resources to deal with those threats. And that's where Yatar Israel comes into play. We are a volunteer police force working under the Mishteret Yisrael, which is the Israeli National Police Force. We come in to different specific units with guys all around the country. Well, we're not all around the country at the moment. We're in Jerusalem, Mevaset Zion. We're in Gush Etzion in Judea. The unit actually has been in existence since 2005 under the Israeli police, when they realized that the resources are lacking and they're not able to have the manpower out in the streets that are necessary to protect the people. Up until about a year ago, it was very, very low profile. There was only 7 or 8 guys that were active within the unit. And that's when the police approached our CEO, Cyril Raviv, to see if he wanted to take this project upon him to make it grow and to help the Israeli National Police.
Interesting timing, Hanan, because, in 2015, first half of 2016, you had this so-called stabbing intifada where, look, here in Jerusalem, you saw attacks. And people can see behind us as people are walking, tight alleyways, tightly packed. This is a tough place to police, and we had these attacks. So it seems like you were filling a crucial role there.
The need came out of the constant attacks that were happening and the threats of attacks and all of the information that's been coming through the police as to potential threats in different areas. They just don't have enough men.
The threat is so pervasive,
absolutely,
like you said, that they need that extra supplement to help them.
So we come into the picture. A year later, we now have close to 100 volunteers.
And Hanan, a crucial point here, you are a volunteer organization. These are men who have full-time jobs, who have families, but they're giving of their time to join Yatar 100%. And help secure Jerusalem and elsewhere.
Right, but when you think of a volunteer organization, you're thinking about a community watch that goes out with pepper spray. Yeah. We're talking about elite people, elite soldiers from elite units, top IDF units, from secret police background. Right. All of these guys have very specific training, are very, very well versed in their specific area of expertise. They come into the picture and they need very little training, which equals to the police and to everyone involved money, because they don't have to put out resources to have guys up and running and equipped.
What a huge assist. These guys are some of the best, Hanan. They've been in battle. They've been on the battlefield, in the intelligence field, and they're coming right off and fresh and coming in here with Yatar. Talk about some of the specific incidents, what you can talk about, because I know a lot of the information you guys can't share because of your important work. Talk about some of the kind of attacks and some of the things you've seen in the past year here in Jerusalem in specific, where we're standing right now in the densely packed old city.
Well, this area in specific, this whole area of the old city, including all of the gates, we're right now standing at the entrance to Jaffa Gate. There have been multiple stabbing attacks happening over the course of the last year and a half. The security forces are definitely more cautious and have their eyes open, which then creates the need for more people to come into the area. Can't go into specifics about specific attacks, but we have our unit is very active in protecting the entrance of the city. We come with our units. We close the entrance. We're able to survey the area to do what's called profiling with the police, looking for terror suspects. We have a drone that we use in order to survey the area to look for specific vehicles.
So you guys are cutting edge. You're doing some cutting edge work. And look, you're not only working during the day. This is like a 24/7 thing. You guys are out at nighttime patrolling in some very dangerous, difficult areas.
We have some guys here that worked a shift, graveyard shift last night, and are here now with no sleep. These guys are very dedicated, and they do it because protecting Israel is number one, regardless of monetary reward. You know, it's nice to get a paycheck, but it's also nice to know that you're going to be sleeping in your bed safe and sound without the threat of a terror attack happening to you.
Yeah, we're in the shadow right now, Hanan, of the Temple Mount, the most sensitive spot on earth. Needless to say, the Holy of Holies.
And it's also the flashpoint of many arguments. This is where the first Intifada started out, and which is why our presence is necessary here. And what we're hoping to achieve with Yatar, you know, the name Yatar in Hebrew actually comes from the contraction in Hebrew of Yechidat Traktoronim, which means a unit of ATVs. So where our goal is to be a mobile ATV fast response unit that will be able to patrol areas that have no capability for cars to come in, like the Old City, which is very, very densely populated, very narrow alleyways. The small alleyways are a safe haven for terrorists to escape. So we have 2 guys that are patrolling on foot, as opposed to 4 guys riding in a high-speed ATV that's open with their guns ready. You're much more mobile, you're much more active, you're much more capable to deal with the threat. And that's our goal, to have presence, and to let these people know that we're here and they're not going to get through.
Well, Hanan, you guys are doing great work. You're filling a crucial need here in Israel. We're going to go for a walk now, I think. Are you going to show us around a bit, show us what you do?
Thanks, Eric. Love to do it. Let's go.
Yeah, let's do it. Up next, we enter the very cramped Arab quarter of the Old City Shuk for a first-hand look at some of the challenges Yatar Israel faces in fighting terror. You will not want to miss this. Stick around.
Christians United for Israel was created for such a time as this. God has raised Kufai up at this moment in history to stand between Israel and those who seek to destroy the Jewish state.
Israel's enemies are on the move. As dark clouds gather on the horizon, tell the world you proudly stand with Israel. Be a courageous voice for biblical unity and moral clarity when you join Christians United for Israel. Show your love for the people of Zion with this beautiful symbol of unending support for Israel.
Wear the pin and join Kufai, a movement of over 3 million defenders of Israel who are raising a torch of truth to defeat the darkness. Call the number on your screen or visit cufi.org/pin to receive your free pin that will show your proud support for Israel.
Eric, well, you see now we're going into the Arab market, walking down towards the Kotel. You can see already how dense the area is. Tourists coming left and right, busy stalls, very, very low level of mobility. It's very difficult close quarters for security action.
You can see, Hanan, and look, you can see how it could just kind of come up on you suddenly.
Absolutely.
I mean, there's people, it's densely packed, there's people on either side, people are moving fast, there's a lot of noise. This is a challenge to police.
We are the only organization that has access to actually have activities within the Old City and within the Western Wall. Wow. We work specifically with David.
That's a huge deal.
It is a huge deal. You know, they call us when they know that there's going to be a special event, or they know that there's going to be some type of action that might provoke some type of aggression.
Right. And as you said, the Temple Mount is the flashpoint.
Absolutely.
And for you guys, as a relatively young organization, Hanan, to be the only volunteer organization to have that access, wow.
It speaks miles to the capabilities of what we're able to do.
And your personnel, I mean, the volunteers, as we said, you know, these are high-level guys, guys and girls, men and women, with great experience.
We have people that, all of the volunteers have different specialities. We have crime scene investigators, we have bomb squad people, we have from all the top units in different areas of focus that will round out our group to have expertise in urban situations, as well in more dense, populated areas.
Yeah, you think of urban warfare, guerrilla warfare. I mean, this is, wow, it doesn't get more urban than this, the old city of Jerusalem.
So as we're walking a little bit further down into the Arab market, we're coming up to the place here where in October 2015, the Benita family was returning from prayers at the Western Wall. Yeah. They were coming up from this area, down deeper into the Shuk. And the terrorist came from over here. He ran out, yeah, right over here, and he stabbed the father. The mother escaped to try and get some help, got a neighbor from upstairs. That neighbor was stabbed as well, and he was
right where we're standing
right here. He was murdered. The terrorist managed to escape up the stairs here and was subdued by police out by Jaffa Gate. Now, this shows us why it's so important for us to have this ATV unit operational within
rapid response.
Rapid response. There's nobody else. There's no ATVs within the police unit, within police division, all of Israeli police.
Well, Hanan, we are here right now with the brave men and women of the Yatar Volunteer Force. Tell us what kind of gear you need. You were describing to do your crucial work in places like the old city of Jerusalem. What do you need? What's the kind of gear you guys need to get the job done?
Well, absolutely. The first thing is, what we get from the police is we get the police infrastructure, that we have all of the information coming to us about the attacks. We're working hand in hand with each police division. What's important to note is that all of the gear that he has here is purchased privately for the units. Aside for the gun, which is given by the police, we have all of the vest that he has now, the protective vest, is Kevlar, and we have to upgrade that. We have to have a neck that is blocking from stabbing attacks, as well as a ceramic plate that's inserted to protect them from stabbing.
This stabbing intifada, Hanan, has really changed the game, hasn't it?
Absolutely.
I mean, because as you're describing here, you guys need this on your neck, the vest, specifically to protect against those knife thrusts.
Makes profiling really difficult because it could be anyone. It could be a child. It could be a woman. It could be a man. We have seen that. It could be a woman, a child, and a knife is relatively easy to conceal. Absolutely. Everything that they have, from the jackets to the radios, flashlights, belts, down to the 511 tactical boots, are all top-line equipment that they need to be able to do the work, to do the job.
I feel very safe right now, by the way.
You are the safest place you could be in all of Jerusalem at the moment.
Well, Hanan, thank you so much for your great work. Keep it up at Yatar. God bless you. We really appreciate it.
Eric.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Hanan. Appreciate it. Thanks to our friends at Yatar Israel for letting us spend some time with them on patrol. You know, folks, I've said here on the show that I feel safer in Jerusalem at night than I do in New York City, Chicago, or LA, and now you can see why. Well, coming up after the break, are you tired of hearing how Israel is the problem in the Middle East? Well, Kufai's David Brog is back to help us reclaim the truth about Israel and its history. Don't move.
Israel's enemies are united in their goal to destroy the Jewish state. They all share one purpose: to wipe Israel off the map. Evil forces never stop working to isolate, delegitimize, and weaken Israel. In the face of evil, Christians must not remain silent. Supporting Israel is not a political issue, it is a biblical issue. And you can make a difference in your church, on college campuses, and on Capitol Hill.
In 10 years, you've gathered more than 3 million members and are active on more than 300 college campuses. Kufi never shies away from standing with Israel, from standing with the truth.
Become part of the largest pro-Israel organization in America and help Christians United for Israel push back against the darkness as a beacon of truth. Join over 3 million defenders of Israel when you visit our website at cufi.org and sign the Israel Pledge. Together, we'll make sure that Israel never stands alone.
And welcome back. Last week, we were joined by CUFI's founding executive director, David Brog, to discuss his must-read new book, Reclaiming Israel's History. Well, David is back this week to correct the false narrative about the supposed inhumanity of Israel's military and much more. Take a look. You talk about, David, the great morality of Israeli fighters during the War for Independence, and you have a chapter in the book called The Most Moral Army in the World, talking about the IDF today. You know, the IDF gets its reputation oftentimes in some media outlets and beyond of being baby killers and inhumane, but the reality is much different. The IDF, as you say, most moral army in the world, probably in the history of humanity, I would say. The IDF, the extraordinary lengths it goes to avoid civilian casualties.
Israel's detractors will have fits. What are you talking about? The Israelis are the worst offenders of human rights. They perpetrate massacres. Again, the myth about Israel has it exactly backwards. I like to quote a friend of ours, a non-Jew, Colonel Richard Kemp. Colonel Richard Kemp led the British forces in Afghanistan during our most recent war in Afghanistan. And he visited Israel during Israel's wars with Gaza in 2008, 2009, 2012, and 2014. And it's Richard Kemp, not me, who said no army in the history of warfare has done more to protect the lives of innocent civilians in a combat zone than Israel has done during these wars in Gaza.
And he's quite an authority.
He's quite an authority.
Yeah.
And let me tell you what, the steps to which Israel goes to protect the lives of innocent Palestinian civilians endangers Israeli soldiers. Most Israelis will say, you know what, if that's the price we have to pay to live up to our morality, if that's the price we have to pay to live up to the Judeo-Christian respect for innocent human life, then we'll pay that price. But they ask one thing. They ask one thing, can you please tell the world the truth?
Yeah.
Can you please tell the world that I sent my son to fight door by door to try to save innocent lives and in the process lost my son? Can you please tell the world the truth, because the world seems to think somehow that we're monsters, that we don't respect innocent human lives. And part of what I wanted to do in this book is to bring that message, to tell that truth, because it is the truth.
Yeah, and you do it beautifully, David. This is a much needed dose of truth, I think, reclaiming Israel's history. Thanks so much for your time, my friend. Last question. I think this is a very important point. We talked about the 5 no's, the continued rejection. Israel gives land, they get bombs in return. Why is the world so obsessed with the Palestinian refugee issue? You talk about this in the book. I think it's very interesting. A lot of people won't know that there have been different ethnic groups, minority groups around the world that have been refugees through the years, but the UN, the world, are fixated on the Palestinian issue. What are some of the motivating factors behind that?
You know, it's hard to say. You know, people claim that Israel has perpetrated some amazing atrocity in the Middle East because the Palestinian people don't have their independence. And they treat this as if it's rare in human history. The UN itself acknowledges that of the 6,000 national groups on planet Earth, only 3% have achieved their independence. So the fact that there's a people group, a new one, claiming that they haven't achieved their independence is not some rare atrocity or exception. It's the rule. And this people group, by the way, could have had their independence if they hadn't turned down every single offer of independence that they were given. History teaches us one and only one thing. The Palestinians have suffered no singular tragedy. Their suffering, which is real, was brought upon them by the decisions of their leaders and their rulers, and the door has been opened to them time after time after time to build, to look forward, to join hands with the Jews and build what could be a flourishing region of the world. It's because of the poor choices they and their leaders make, and the violence in which they have wallowed and to which they have resorted, and the fact that the world doesn't reject that violence but somehow condones it, that they continue to suffer to this day.
Yeah. It's a sad thing, but David, thank you so much for illuminating us with the truth. Thank you for reclaiming Israel's history, for showing that Israel is the solution and not the problem in the Middle East. David, thanks so much for joining us. Good luck with the book.
Thank you, Eric.
It's a great one.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you, my
so
friend.
much, man.
Anytime. Folks, again, the book is called Reclaiming Israel's History. You can find it at Amazon.com, Barnes & Noble, or wherever books are sold from coast to coast. Pick it up. Well, coming up after the break, how does Israel manage to survive against all odds? The answer up next. Stick around.
Every summer, Christians United for Israel gathers in our nation's capital for the annual Washington, D.C. Summit. Thousands of passionate pro-Israel Christians unite to celebrate our love for the God of Israel and His people in His land, the only beacon of freedom and democracy in the Middle East, and America's greatest friend and ally. The Washington, D.C. Summit attracts the top speakers and Middle East experts in the field, as well as influential leaders from Jerusalem and Washington who recognize that CUFI is an invaluable asset to the relationship between America and Israel, as well as to the future of both of our countries. We are excited and encouraged by the rapid expansion of our organization's influence on Capitol Hill, in the media, and in churches and colleges across America. Join Christians United for Israel, and we'll teach you how to take your place as a watchman on the walls of Jerusalem. The movement is over 3 million voices strong. Add yours today.
Welcome back. You know, Israel has been through so much since its miraculous rebirth in 1948. Enemy after enemy, terror wave after terror wave. So many Israelis killed, so much tragedy. And yet, Israel and its people are still standing strong and prospering against all odds. How could this be? I'll give you a hint. The book of Psalms says that He who watches over Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Folks, that's God Almighty. And our team at Christians United for Israel is answering God's call, standing in the gap for His people and His land. You see the phone number and the URL on your screen, so join us. Join America's largest pro-Israel organization and put your faith into action. Well, thanks for joining us this week on The Watchman. Until next time, God bless you. And remember, never hold your peace.